hands together for DJ Alex Sensation. I didn't hear that. DJ Alex Sensation. Bienvenidos a Gracie Mansion. Esta es la casa del pueblo. La casa de ustedes. Y ustedes siempre son bienvenidos aquí. ¿Listos para celebrar esta noche? ¿Listos? I thought so. You know, whoa, this room is packed. I don't think you can move like an inch this way or that. You know, one of the things that make our city such a special place is that our roots are spread across the globe. And that's certainly true of New York's Spanish-speaking community. Some of you trace your ancestry back to Mexico or to the Caribbean. Some of you have roots in Central or South America. Others hail from other places in the United States, like Puerto Rico, or Texas, or California. And that diversity is on full display throughout New York City. Wherever you go in the 5 boroughs, you can see and feel and taste all the influences in our food, in our music, and in our history. But even stronger than that are our emotional ties. New Yorkers care deeply about the places they come from and about the people who share their heritage. And the fact is, right now, many of these people are hurting. In Puerto Rico, Mexico, and the Caribbean. In Florida and Texas, communities have been ravaged by extreme weather, and they need our help. Tonight is a celebration of New York City's Latino community. And one of the things we celebrate is how our communities come together in crisis and in adversity, how we unite and become stronger. And New York City is here to help. The Mayor's Fund to Advance New York City is collecting donations for those affected by hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and Maria. After the festivities, on your way out, you'll receive information about where to drop off critically needed items. We need your help. And we encourage people looking to support our Mexican sisters and brothers to contribute. We encourage people looking to support our Mexican sisters and brothers to contribute to UNICEF Mexico or Doctors Without Borders, who are leading efforts on the ground. So can I count on your support? Can I count on you to help us? Good, good. Because these natural disasters also cause stress and emotional turmoil for family members and friends who are hundreds of miles away. You know what I'm saying? Right? Friends and family. So I want you to remember this number. This number is for our free mental health line that you can call. It's 1-888-NYC-WELL. New Yorkers who are struggling from anxiety or depression or because they feel overwhelmed with the enormity of all of these events happening at the same time can call this number for free and speak to a trained counselor and get connected to long-term care if necessary. So the number is 1-888-NYC-WELL. Please say it with me. 1-888-NYC-WELL. One more time. 1-888-NYC-WELL. Please share it with your family and your friends. You never know who might need it. People tend to suffer silently. You know what I mean? They don't want to share their burdens with other people, but they might need to talk to someone. So that's right. Que viva Nueva York! And now I'd like to introduce my favorite salsa partner, el amor de mi vida, our mayor, Bill de Blasio.
Bienvenidos a todos. Muchísimas gracias, Charlene. I am proud and I'm moved every day by the extraordinary work that our First Lady, La Primera Dama, does on behalf of the people of this city, particularly when it comes to mental health. Let's thank her for all she does. There are a lot of great people here tonight, representing so many communities in this city. And I am very thankful for all of you. I'm thankful for all you do to make New York City great. And I want to talk about how we celebrate the achievements of all the communities represented here. But first, we have to talk about a couple of challenging matters, so just bear with me for a moment. First, we had a tragedy earlier today in the Bronx, and many of you heard about it. For the first time in decades, we lost one of our students to violence in one of our schools. And it's a tragedy whenever a young person's life is lost. But we lost a young man in his classroom, and our hearts are so heavy, and our hearts go out to the family and to all involved. Another young man right now still fighting for his life in the hospital. So I'd like to ask you for a moment of silence in light of this tragedy. Thank you very much. And Charlene spoke to you about something that's on all of our minds too, which is this last few weeks, what we've seen for two of the great homelands of people who are such a big part of New York City, for Puerto Rico and for Mexico. The wrath of nature so painfully played out, and the devastation we've seen from here, and we are all feeling it so deeply. We all feel such a strong connection. And I've been reminding people I talk to here in New York City, but also from other parts of the country, that in New York City, when we see something like this, it's not for us something we feel is far, far away and we can't connect with it. We feel it in our hearts. When it comes to Puerto Rico, almost 1 in 10 New Yorkers is a Puerto Rican. Yeah. And the other 9 in 10 feel a closeness to the Puerto Rican community. Yeah. We feel a deep solidarity with Puerto Rico right now because Puerto Rico is part of us. And the devastation, I have to tell you, my friends, it's hard to put into words how extreme it is. Because, you know, we had our own challenges. We had our own disasters. Sandy here in New York, or what's happened in Florida, what's happened in Texas recently. But what's happened in Puerto Rico is an entirely different magnitude. And it's like any other part of the United States, if you compared, and here's the example, almost the same exact population. The state of Connecticut has almost the exact same population as Puerto Rico. What if the entire state of Connecticut had no electricity? Right? Think about that. If the entire state, no electricity, roads that you couldn't drive on, there wasn't enough food, there wasn't enough gas, there wasn't enough water. Well, if that was happening in a mainland state in the United States of America, the whole country would be there helping them get back on their feet. Right? It would be considered a total national priority. We need to see that kind of support for Puerto Rico too. It should not matter whether you live in San Juan or you live in Greenwich. You're an American either way. You deserve the help that you deserve. And we need to keep the federal government's feet to the fire. We need everything that can be done for Puerto Rico to be done quickly, to be done right now. People need it. And a lot of New Yorkers right now, They can't even reach their loved ones in Puerto Rico. And I want to just express my solidarity with so many New Yorkers who are going through that pain of the unknown and how challenging that is. And I've had that painful experience of talking to people who still don't know, and I've had that joyous experience of talking to people who reach their mother or their father or their grandparents. But it's a tough, tough moment. Now, we need to remind everyone in Washington, 3.5 million Americans live in Puerto Rico. It's as simple as that, 3.5 million Americans. And the federal government needs to do everything, including get rid of the impediments. There's a thing called the Jones Act, and sometimes they hide behind it. They should waive it and just get Puerto Rico the help they need now. I think you are loud enough that President Trump even could hear you. I will note that right now, the City of New York, working with FEMA and our direct efforts to aid San Juan, we have 147 New York City employees on the ground in Puerto Rico helping right now. And we're prepared to send more as Puerto Rico needs it. Now, everyone here can help. Our firehouses and our EMS stations are collecting donations, and I want to encourage everyone to help in every way you can. So if you want to give the things that people in Puerto Rico need, there are sites all over the city. You can go online, nyc.gov/donations. You can find the site. What do they need? They need diapers, they need baby food, they need batteries, they need first aid supplies, and they need feminine hygiene products. Please be as generous as you can. And you can also provide financial support. And I want to emphasize that effort for Puerto Rico is crucial. But we are now going to start, in terms of collecting financial support, to aid Mexico as well, because the devastation is so intense. So please, you can provide goods, you can provide donations. Anyone, as I said, you want to provide physical goods, nyc.gov/donations. If you'd like to contribute through the Mayor's Fund, nyc.gov/fund. Our brothers and sisters need our help. Nuestros hermanos y hermanas, they need our help. And we are blessed. We're here in this city. We're blessed. Let's be as generous as we can. A few words in Spanish. Los días y meses que vienen serán muy difíciles y les pido a los neoyorquinos que hagan todo lo posible para ayudar a Puerto Rico y México. So our solidarity is strong, and we will stick with these countries we feel such a deep, deep connection to. Let me now turn us to the cause for our celebration. And we gather in this month to recognize something that seems to be hard for a lot of people in Washington, D.C. to see. We recognize the contributions of all the communities that are represented here, the way you have made New York City better and stronger, the way you have made the United States better and stronger. We come here to say thank you. And I want to mention there's a lot of really special people who are here tonight to join in this celebration. I want to mention some of them, but I have to start with the man who was bringing us such joy through the music he was playing. He is a proud immigrant from Colombia. He is a great success story, if ever there was one. And if you listen to La Mega, anyone listen to La Mega? Then you know something about his work. Also, he probably has the best name anyone ever had. DJ Alex Sensation. Give him a big round of applause. I kind of wish I had been born with the name DJ Alex Sensation, but I'll just have to get by. We have elected officials who have joined us who are such strong supporters supporters of these communities. First, the Borough President of the Bronx, Ruben Diaz Jr. And the District Attorney of the Bronx, Darcel Clark. And from Queens, Assemblymember David Weprin. Members of my administration, and they all wanted to be at this event. They were so passionate about being at this event. Deputy Mayor Herminia Palacio. Consumer Affairs Commissioner Lorelei Salas. Our Oath Commissioner Fidel Del Valle. International Affairs Commissioner Penny Abiwardina. Small Business Services Commissioner Greg Bishop. Emergency Management Commissioner Joe Esposito. Immigrant Affairs Commissioner Bita Mostafi. And Transportation Commissioner Polly Trottenberg. A special thank you to folks who make Gracie Mansion great and these events great. The Executive Director of the Conservancy here, Paul Gunther. Our Executive Director for Special Projects, Carla Matero. And the Chief of Staff to the First Lady, Roxanne John. Thanks to all. And then there's a very powerful group of Latinas in the administration. Two of them are here in particular. My senior advisor, Lorraine Cortez Vasquez. And the Director of Scheduling, who controls my life in every way, Prisca Salazar Rodriguez. And a special thank you to the representatives of the governments of so many nations that are here today. So many representatives. I'll name the countries from Panama, from Paraguay, from Spain, from Chile, from Argentina. We thank you all. Now, here's the last thing I want to say to you, and then I'm going to bring up our honoree. Here's what's amazing about New York City. For so many communities, we are either the biggest community outside their homeland anywhere in the world, or one of the biggest communities outside their homeland anywhere in the world. There is no more Puerto Rican city outside of Puerto Rico than New York City, right? There's no more Dominican city outside of the Dominican Republic than New York City. More and more, one of the most Mexican cities of the world is New York City. And it's true for so many other communities. Our Ecuadorian community is growing. Our Salvadoran community is growing. Our Colombian community is growing. And so many nations. So look, what does that say about us? It says we're blessed. It says we're blessed to have extraordinary and strong and growing and beautiful communities that all come together. And here's the thing I'd say. A lot of the rhetoric in this country, you've heard it. It's very nasty. It's very negative, particularly in the last year. A lot of the rhetoric says that immigrants make us less safe and immigrants take away jobs. That's what you hear, right? Here's what we have experienced in New York City. We have the most jobs we've ever had. We are the safest big city in America. And we have the most immigrants we have had in a century. So the truth is, New York City is great, not despite immigrants, but because of immigrants. And we have a lesson to teach our country. We have a lesson of how everyone can benefit together. Everyone can create something greater than the sum of the parts if we actually learn to respect each other and embrace each other's contribution. Isn't that the message New York City sends every day as a beacon to this country? Well, now to our honoree. And our honoree represents this great tradition of people coming here and people being born here to immigrants and then doing things that make us all better. He is a great example of the contributions of both our Puerto Rican community and our Cuban community. Now, if you're a Puerto Rican born in New York City, you're a New Yorican. If you're a Cuban Puerto Rican mix, are you a Cuba Rican? I don't know the phrase. Maybe I invented a phrase. But he shares both these heritages proudly, and he has taken his talents. I love nothing more than a New Yorker who has the creative talent to do things that then the whole world sees. He is a playwright, he is a screenwriter, he is a director, he is a producer. He was one of the people who wrote the Oscar-winning screenplay for Birdman. He wrote the book for the wonderful musical On Your Feet, the Gloria and Emilio Estefan story. And he takes his time and takes his talent, and despite his fame, despite his success, he goes up to the Bronx and he mentors young students and how they can get into the theater too. So our honoree tonight deserves all our praise. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to bring to you Alex Dinelaris. Now, Alex, I need you just to stand next to our First Lady for a moment. We're going to give you a proclamation. And before you speak, you've got to hold that up, because here's the cool part. When you've done great things like Alex, you've achieved great things culturally, and you've given back to the community, we invite you here not just because we want to honor you and hear from you, but we want to give you this proclamation. And here's the best part. The proclamation talks about his achievements, but the last line is the best part, in my opinion, because it allows me, as mayor of this city, representing 8.5 million people, to proclaim today, September 27th, 2017, in the city of New York as Alex Dinelaris Day.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you, Mayor de Blasio and First Lady. This is an honor I could never imagine. And if any of you knew my life, you'd know that this night was virtually impossible. Gracie Mansion, Mayor de Blasio and the First Lady, New York City. When I started to get a little bit of success in the movie business, people would ask me, they would say, "Are you going to take your family, you're going to move to LA?" And it's funny because I don't think I ever answer that question. I think I just put on this like New York look, and they're like, "All right, next question." Now, don't get me wrong, I love Los Angeles, but I am a New Yorker. And I always will be a New Yorker. I was born at Jewish Memorial Hospital up on Broadway at 196th. I was raised at 247 Audubon Avenue in Washington Heights. Washington Heights. I've loved the New York Yankees since Chris Chambliss hit a home run that made my father cry for joy. I love New York and everything New York represents: grit, culture, diversity, a family of immigrants. And in a time when more and more immigrants are being labeled as other, I'm damn proud of this great city and this administration for standing up for our family. This honor, I have to say, this day is not my day. It belongs to my family. It belongs to my mother, Maria Belén Ramirez, who grew up in Villalba, Puerto Rico. It belongs to her mother, Mercedes Céspedes Ramirez, who grew up in Ponce. My grandfather, Berardo Ramirez, who grew up outside Havana and served in the U.S. Army, by the way. His son, my uncle Chacho Ramirez, who's an accomplished musician, a percussionist, also served his country as well. It belongs to Titi Cuca, Titi Belén, Titi Villita, Uncle Teófilo, Titi Adriana, and my cousins Tommy and Jissy, whom we've not been able to contact since the hurricane ravaged the island. It seems insane that I should stand here on the shoulders of my family and somehow accept an award for being tall. In a scene I wrote for my musical On Your Feet about the lives of Gloria and Emilio Estefan, a record producer tears into them for suggesting they'd like to record in English. They want to cross over. And the producer says, "You're not back home anymore. You don't get to make the rules. You want to cross over? Fine. You simplify the percussion, you lose the horns, you change your name, then we'll talk. Until then, you record in Spanish." And as they're about to be dismissed, Emilio's character turns around and says, "When I first came to Miami, there was a sign on the apartment building next to mine. It said, 'No pets, no Cubans.' Change my name. It's not my name to change. It's my father's name. It's my grandfather's name. My grandfather, who we left behind in Cuba to come here and build a life. Now, for 15 years, I've worked my ass off and I've paid my taxes, so I'm not too sure where it is you think I live, but this is my home. And you should look very closely at my face, because whether or not you know it, this is what an American looks like." There are more than 3 million American citizens in Puerto Rico who desperately need our help. They need their New York family right now. And I tell you what, we're New Yorkers. This is what we do. Let's reach down and show them exactly how tall they've made us all. This is an incredible honor. I can't describe it. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I'll never forget it. Thank you.
All right, everybody. I want to thank everybody again for all you do for New York, for joining with us tonight in celebration, for all you're going to do to help our brothers and sisters in need. Now, is DJ Sensation still around? Is he ready to do a little more? Alex, you got something more? I mean, I know you think the party should be really short, right? You don't want to extend the party, right? I'm going to leave you in the good hands of DJ Alex Sensation. Thank you, everybody. God bless you all.